In this Fusion tutorial, we're going to turn our two-dimensional sketch into a three-dimensional model. And after completing this tutorial, you'll be able to create a simple CAD model in Fusion 360 using simple tools such as extrude and fillet. We'll also use the timeline to edit the model features and dimensions. To begin, let's toggle off the visibility of the second sketch. Then in the View cube, click Home. We only need to use one sketch to build our 3D model. We're going to extrude our 2D sketch of our rectangle into a 3D form. And we'll do this by clicking Create in the toolbar and then clicking Extrude. Then click to select our 2D enclosed shape, and we can click and drag the arrow up to whatever height we wish. Or like when we're sketching in 2D, we can enter the measurement directly. So I'll enter 50mm, then press Return on my keyboard. Now if I click Home on the View cube, my 3D model will fit into the window. And if I orbit about the 3D model, we now have a cube 50mm wide, 50mm high, and 50mm deep. And if we go to the browser, if we expand the bodies, we can see our new body, and this is our cube. Let's round off the edges for the top of the cube. To do this, in the toolbar, select Modify, then select Fillet. Now select all the edges that you wish to round. For the demonstration, I'm just going to select the top 4 edges. We can enter the radius for the fillet directly, or we can click and drag the arrow to set the radius. I'm going to enter a 1mm radius for the fillet directly, and then I'll click OK to close the dialog window. As well as grow or extrude material in Fusion 360, we can also remove material. And this is what we'll do next, using some of the tools that we've previously used. We'll begin by sketching another rectangle directly on the top face of the cube. So in the View cube, click Top for a top view. Let's sketch our rectangle here. In the toolbar, click Sketch, Rectangle, Center Rectangle. And this time we'll not select a work plane. Instead, we'll click to select the top face of the cube to work on. Now we can click and dimension our rectangle as we wish. I'm going to enter 20, tab on the keyboard, 20mm again, then press Return to lock the 2D sketch in place. So that sketch now sits on the top face of our new cube. And now, if I go to Create, Extrude, and then select the new sketch, and I can grab the arrow and extend the form out, and in the dialog box, under Operation, I can join the two bodies, and I can create a new body to make two bodies. Or, if I wish, I can click the arrow and drag it through the cube. And when we do this, we can note that the extrude changes to a red, and in the dialog window, the operation changes to cut. So I can use my sketches to cut material away also. And once I've done that, if I click OK to close the dialog window, and then click Home in the View cube, and if I use the Orbit tools, I can see the material that I've cut away from our cube. All of the modelling has been recorded in the timeline. I can click and drag the marker to view the different steps and stages of the model build, or I can click Play to play them through. Additionally, if I wish to make any changes, I can just double-click the feature. For example, here I'm editing my last sketch, and I can change the dimensions just by double-clicking on them and entering a new measurement. If I press Return, click Stop Sketch, the design updates. And I could do the same with the extrusion. So I double-click the extrusion in the timeline, use the arrow to change the distance. I can also make any changes that I wish in the dialog window. Then if I click OK, the design updates to reflect my edits. And when I finish my modelling, I need to save the file. So I click Save in the File menu, and saving for the first time, Fusion will give us options to name the file and where we want to save it. So I'm going to name this file Simple Cube, and I'm going to save it into my project, Introduction to 3D Modelling. Then click Save. And if we now click to show the data panel, we can see our Simple Cube Fusion file here in our project. This completes our simple 3D modelling tutorial. In the next tutorial, we're going to take a quick look at how Fusion can help us create technical drawings and other technical documentation for our 3D models.